What's up, HyperFast Nation? On this episode of the show, I sat down with an amazing guest. He was a Navy SEAL, well, get this, while working 60 to 80-hour weeks training people at BUDS, which is the training school for Navy SEALs. He built a side hustle business. That side hustle business became so big that he was able to leave the Navy early before retirement and build a seven-figure business. He's been mentored by some of the biggest names, people like Ed Milet, Bob Proctor, Grant Cardone, you name it. We had an amazing conversation. Welcome to the show, Brandon Thornhill. All right, welcome to the show today, Brandon. How are you doing?
Doing great, man. How are you?
Good. I understand you are in the free state of Texas. I'm in the free state of Florida. So we got two free state people today talking about life and real estate and other great things.
Yeah, man. Moved out here from Arizona just a short time ago. I had to get away from the dry heat and come to the humid heat.
Is it so? It's not geographically they're close. I know that obviously Texas is a big state, but is it that dramatic of a difference between the humidity?
It is. It actually is, man. Yeah. I mean, when you look at Texas, it's going to be pretty similar to Florida. I mean, Florida is going to be a little bit worse, but obviously West Coast, very dry heat. Over here, it's very humid, very wet.
Well, real briefly, just tell the audience today what led to Arizona and then to Texas. Like what was your life journey up to that point? If you can give us a quick synopsis.
Yeah. So, I was a Navy SEAL for 14 years. And back in 2015, I was in the military at that point for right around 11 years. And I was putting students through Hell Week. So I was very busy, found myself living paycheck to paycheck. So
Hell Week is you were like the instructor at BUDS.
Yeah,
but making Navy SEALs' lives or potential Navy SEALs, I guess, lives miserable for a week, right?
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Just put them through the selection process, trying to put pressure on them. And I mean, obviously, the process is the process, right? It's gonna do its job. We're just there to really just put a little bit of extra pressure on them and see how they can handle it. But yeah, so I was doing that, man, and I was an E6 in the military. And found myself at that time living paycheck to paycheck. So I started searching for new ways to be able to just not have to struggle, not have to, the military is great, but at the same time, they're dictating how much you're worth based off of how long you've been in the military, or if you have a degree or don't have a degree, stuff like that. So long story short, I found a guy who was making like 6 figures a month, and I started learning from him. It was all in the online marketing space, e-commerce space. And, my mentors always told me that if you do what they do, you'll have what they have. So long story short, man, I was working anywhere from 60, 80 to 100 hours a week. Started working with him on the side, started doing really well with it. Was able to literally, 4X my full-time military income part-time through the system. And so I decided to get out after like 2 years and just go full-time with it. So we moved out to Salt Lake City for about a year and a half, because that's where a lot of my team was at. And my wife and I just loved it out there. And then we moved down to Phoenix for a year during the whole, COVID just disaster time frame. I guess I just got bored. And then now we just moved out to Fort Worth. It's not like we have to be here. We're just we get bored and we just want to bounce.
So you were doing wholesaling, right? That's how you started off?
No. So I was actually in the network marketing space.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
And you were doing that on the side initially while you're out at Coronado, right? Training SEALs.
Yeah. So, I didn't have a lot of time to really I could have gotten into the wholesaling space, that just wasn't presented to me back then. I got more introduced to that when I was in Phoenix, and I met Cody Sperber, and he's got an incredible, team that runs that. But as far as the network marketing space, I got introduced to that back in 2015. That was my primary vehicle, the cash cow that I focus on.
Was it hard to do that while you were, working at Buds, which I'm sure is, training Navy SEALs, which I'm sure is one of the most intense jobs in the world.
Yeah. It's like, what's the definition of hard, I guess? It's like everybody's working hard. I was working hard already, but I was also, struggling. So I got tired of my current situation. So, anytime that I had off, instead of going and wasting my time at the bar, like I had used to, or wasting my time doing other things, I learned pretty early that you're either investing your time or spending your time. And I got tired of spending my time doing things that wasn't going to give me a return on investment later on. So I started investing my time into building my business so that I could create the extra cash flow that would create me the residual income to be able to go out there and live life on my terms. So I was very motivated with it. So yeah, I guess you could say it was challenging, but it was worth it. You know what I mean?
How long did it take once you started to where you start to either see some success or you knew that this was going to really work out?
Pretty quickly, I'd seen one of my friends who was having success in it, and I was like, "Man, this guy has no business being in business, but he's over here doing well." So I was pretty hopeful. And within 6 months, I'd matched my full-time income doing it. Within a year, I doubled it. Within 2.5 years, I quadrupled it. So that's when I was like, "Man, what could I do with this if I actually focused all my time on it?" And so, and then in the process over the past couple of years, man, we've helped over close to 100 people making extra six figures. Quite a few people making extra seven figures.
What was it like being in the Navy but then having this side job that's making 2 to 4 times what the Navy was paying you?
Well,
That must have been kind of a weird, exhilarating, confused feeling, because it's kind of like the opposite of everything. I mean, I feel from my experience, you gotta check the boxes in the military. You gotta pass the test and the standards, but like you kind of hinted at earlier, you get paid based on the time you've been there. So what was that dynamic like? Because you were living like two wildly different like economic systems at the same time.
Yeah, I think I did the math. I think you'd have to be a general to literally make the money that I was making, which is just insane. But and it just shows you, and I'm not bashing the military. It was great. But I'd say that it was great at first. Being in the network marketing space, there's a lot of misperceptions that go on about the industry, so some negativity. So being in a platoon, it was quite interesting to see the dynamics of the people that were telling me that it wasn't going to work, and nobody makes money in those things. And I just didn't listen to them, man. I mean, it's just like real estate. You're going to get what you put into it, and if you're not trying, and in fact, when you look at the statistics of people who actually go out in real estate and they want to get their license, for example, there's going to be a massive amount of people, because everybody's a real estate agent out in San Diego, by the way. I don't know if you've ever been out there, but you're like,
oh yeah. I've gone to some real estate conferences out there. So
yeah, it's like you're hanging out at a coffee shop. You're like, what do you do? Well, I'm in real estate. Well, have you made a sale? And then that's a different conversation, right? So a lot of them,
quiet.
Yeah, a lot of
well,
people,
I got a lead yesterday.
Yeah. Yeah. So a lot of people, they'll try to get their license and fail the test, or they'll finally get through the test and they don't even make a sale. So everything you do in life, obviously, you're gonna get what you put into it. And so, the dynamics of it were great. Once I started making money and was able to start proving to people that it was actually working, it was a lot better than when I wasn't. But yeah, I had a little bit of a senioritis, I think probably about 8 to 9 months in, because here I am still working up, almost 100 hours a week sometimes. And I'm, having to show up, and I'm making literally 4 times the amount of money I was making part-time within, that 2-year period. So I think I started to get kind of tired of it, of the politics, because then money is not everything, but it gives you choices. You know what I mean?
Right. Were people surprised when, you put in for separation or to get out? Because you were fairly close to, most people, if they get to 10 years, they're going to go to 20 to get that retirement pension, which is, I think it's like half the base salary. for life. So
It is. And it's
so
pretty
it seems
interesting.
like you got out when you were like 5 to 6 years away from that.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting, the conversations I had. Most people are sincere in life, right? Like they
Right.
sincerely care, but just like the saying goes, man, a lot of times they're sincerely wrong in their opinions and their advice. And I learned pretty early on, don't take opinions of people, don't take the opinions of people like their opinions unless they have the results that you're looking for.
Mm.
And a lot of the people that were giving me their opinions, just they didn't have the results that I wanted as far as the lifestyle and the financial freedom aspect of it. Not that they didn't care, not that they weren't great people. I wanted to find the right people to listen to. And so some of them were telling me, hey, don't do it. Like, dude, you're 6 years out. Like, are you going to, because I got out at 14 years and you can retire at 20. But what they didn't understand is that, they don't have a lot of them didn't have a money mindset. They didn't understand it. Like the residual income that I was able to create literally in 6 months, my first 6 months over here, let alone the 2.5 year mark when I decided to get out. I mean, that's the same residual income that would have took me over 20 some years to be able to do. And I was able to do it in 6 months, residual. You know what I mean? The cash flow that's coming from that.
That's astonishing.
Because all we're doing, Dan, is we have a book of business that continues to pay me, right? So it's the customers who order every single month. They take the product every month, reorder it every month. And they continues to pay me. I'm just building a book of business.
What do you think was the key or the keys to your success when a lot of people that try this or anything, it doesn't work out? Like, why do you think it worked for you? What was the secret sauce?
I love the name of your podcast here, HyperFast Agent, right? So my mindset when I first got started was I had a mentor that I wanted to produce to get his attention. And so I started producing to get his attention. When I did that, I said, okay, what can I do? It took him 5 years to get to where he is. So I'm trying to move hyper fast here. How can I take what took him 5 years and do that in, a year, 2 years, 2.5 years, whatever it is? I want to be able to condense that timeline. Instead of taking me 40 years to do it in the civilian world, I want to do it in 2 years. And so literally I didn't toe dip.
Hold that thought for a second. Do you struggle with how to scale your real estate business without trading your most valuable asset, your time, for money? If so, Carrie and I want to help you. Since March of 2020, we have doubled our sales and tripled our profit. And we want to help you grow your real estate business in a smart way at the HyperFast Summit in Boca Raton, Florida on February 1st and 2nd, 2022. We're bringing together top real estate leaders to help agents from all over the world. Go to hfasummit.com for tickets. Again, that's hfasummit.com for tickets.
Whereas a lot of people toe dip, a lot of people will make excuses as to, the things that they can't do based off of their current situation. I made sacrifices, man. I stopped doing things on the weekend, like I was telling you earlier, and I started focusing on building my skills because I knew that if I wanted to become more valuable to the marketplace and get paid more, then my skills needed to be right there with it, right? As the saying goes, be, do, have. So I had to become the person that deserved the level of success that I wanted in my life. I knew that I could go out there and do it just through hard work, but most people think you can just have it without becoming. Success isn't something you can just go chase. It's something you attract by the person you become in the process. So as I started becoming that person, I knew that, the success would follow. So I focused on growth. I focused on going all in. I focused on, not just having a very strong white, red hot burning desire of what I wanted. And I didn't let anything get in my way, man. I stayed dialed in.
What was it like when you did separate or went on terminal leave or separation leave, and then now all of a sudden you get that 60 or 80 hours or however many it was, like a week back? Like how did that change your business life, everything?
Yeah, it's interesting. At first, it is a challenge because your only boss in real estate, your only boss in network marketing and business is your calendar. You got to keep that thing full, right? You can determine based off of how much money somebody's going to be able to make based off of what their calendar is looking like on how many income producing activities that they're doing every day. Really in any industry, right? Numbers are going to tell you. And so, when I first got out, it was very easy for me with no accountability to kind of not do what I was supposed to be doing 100% of the time. But it took me about 6 months, man, to get it dialed back in. And after that 6 months, I was right back on where I needed to be. But it took me a solid 6 months to get when I had that freedom with nobody breathing down my neck.
Did you take a dip during that time, or your growth slowed of the business?
Luckily not. I didn't take a dip, but it did like flatten a little bit.
Sure.
So, naturally, right? Like the speed of the team is the speed of the leader. And so if your foot's not on the gas, and your leaders will start to step back a little bit as well. But luckily I had some really good leaders in place. And so, no, it didn't keep the momentum that I had, but it just flatlined a little bit.
At what point in this, because a lot of real estate agents, I think, could benefit from talking a little bit about, growing the business from beyond yourself, right? A lot of real estate agents start off, they do amazing 2 to 3 deals, 4 deals a month, depending on their market. That's enough to net like $250 a year. A lot of them, though, stay there, and nothing wrong with that from like an ethics or moral standpoint. But from a business standpoint, at that point you don't own a business, you own a job. You're self-employed, right? It's still better, I think, than most jobs, but they get stuck there. They don't hire, they don't grow, so they never really transfer from self-employed to business owner. At what point did you start making that transition, and what were the keys in doing so?
Yeah, man, that's a great point, Dan. I think a lot of people, when they, like you said, a lot of people don't understand that they don't even know that they're working a job, by the way, even though they're business owners, because some business owners are still working a job because they haven't put systems in place that are going to continue to move the business forward with or without them. And I think that's where some people like, Jeff Bezos or these different owners who hire people better than them can come in and understand how if you have people out there who are working and duplicating on a massive scale, man, then you're going to be able to have the time freedom to be able to do what you want when you want. You don't have to necessarily sit here and worry about working, inside of your business all the time. You can be more focused on the up and out and be able to take that vacation and go, spend time with your family and not just be, grinding it out 10 to 15 years like Gary Vee talks about all the time. There's ways where you can look everything I do, man. And from the beginning, I was looking at how can I put a system in place that would automate this? How can I put a system in place here to where somebody else can do this and I can teach them to take this over to where I can have more time to focus on driving another line of business or doing something else. So over here in our business, it's more about leadership. The more leaders I have produced, the more they can go out and duplicate that model, because then they can go out and produce leaders who can produce leaders, which if, in the real estate game, it's going to be pretty similar, right? It's just about creating those systems in place that are going to continue to work with or without you.
What do you look for when you hire people?
So for us, we don't hire, we recruit. Like when you look at the difference between hire, and this, but the difference between hire and recruiting, some of your followers might not. When you're recruiting for talent. You're recruiting people who have the right mindset. Like every professional organization is out actively recruiting people who they know is going to be able to fill this spot. Well, hiring is just bringing anybody on board who might be able to fulfill that position. So I'm actively recruiting people who have the right mindset, people who, want to be able to get out there and, empower other people who, I'm in the health space. So people who want to get out there and help people with their health. So I'm actively recruiting people who have the right mindset. I call it WIP: work ethic, hunger, influence, and passion. They need those 4 things if I'm going to be somebody that's going to focus on them, because, I can't want success more for them than they want it for themselves. So if they're willing to actually fight for it, I can mentor them every day of the week and get them to where they want to go.
What are some of the ways you find out if they have those characteristics?
From the beginning, man, like if I set up a meeting and they're sitting there, pushing the meeting constantly, or, you know what I mean? And then on the meeting, what's their demeanor look like? Like, are they somebody that takes themselves serious? Are they somebody that's very casual? Like, what are their goals? Are they very casual goals? Are they hungry for more in life? Like, what's their why? What's their driving force behind what it is that they're doing? So all that stuff, I just take all that stuff into consideration on looking at whether or not it's going to be somebody that's going to be worth my time to actually mentor. And then once I get them started, Dan, people will tell you every day of the week that they're going to be your next top leader, but then you give them one homework assignment and then they don't do it. So if I send them home and I don't tell them I'm giving them a homework assignment, but if I say, hey man, welcome to the team, super excited to work with you. Your onboarding process is going to be Tuesday. And it's now, let's just say, I don't know, Friday. And I say, hey, between now and then, I need you to do X, Y, and Z. And they come, they're not prepared. It just tells me that they're not really ready for entrepreneurship. They're not really ready to take their life to the next level. You know what I mean?
Yeah, we recruit a lot of sales agents and people in commission-based roles. And I really think, which by the way, for real estate agents out there listening, that shouldn't be your first hire. I'm pretty consistent with that. The first hire as a real estate agent you need is an admin. But once you do have the systems in place, right? Because you need the systems in place to bring on salespeople, you got to make sure that they are financially driven, right? And maybe you have the same thoughts, or in your industry, your company, like if they're not motivated by money, and there could be a big reason why, right? There's a lot of times there's a why behind that. Maybe they have a significant other that they want to retire. Maybe they've got kids that they want to get through college or debt, or there could be a number of reasons, which you need to ask the questions to get to that too. But if they're not extremely financially motivated, they're typically not going to put up with the stuff you have to put up with to have that success in sales, entrepreneurship.
Yeah, I agree. Like when I first got started, I used to tell people your why has to be stronger than your excuses as to why you're not going to do it. And I'll give an example. I had a woman, she has 6 kids, and she came to me and she said, Brandon, my daughter needs $20,000 for her eye surgery, and I don't have the money. And I told her, I said, put your work boots on. At that moment, I knew that she had the strong why to be able to get out there and do what it takes to be able to make that happen. So I said, put your work boots on. We're going to make it happen. 4 months later, we were able to help her pay cash. And now she's just one of my 7-figure earners.
Do you think the SEALs and the Navy helped prepare you for what you're doing now, or certain parts of it?
I do, man. I mean, the thing about the SEAL teams is like, we have a saying in it: in the absence of leadership, lead. And I can go on and on about different ethos that we have in there. But the point of it is, we're led, I think, to think outside the box. We're not your typical, force, not your typical operator that's just going to just follow the rules. We're very outside the box driven, which can be great, but also can be a bad thing if you take it too far outside the box there. But yeah, man, I mean, with the mindset of what it takes to make it through the process, the consistency, the dedication, the sacrifice, the willingness to go through the process. I mean, all of that can transfer over into anything that they're doing.
Hey, that's a great thought. But let me get to this question that I just got from one of my followers right to my phone. By the way, did you know you can text me at 703-215-1684? This is a new thing I've rolled out. I'm letting my listeners and people that subscribe and follow me on social media connect with me directly to my phone on text message. It's me answering them and responding. You can ask me anything about real estate, investing, business, whatever. Just text 703-215-1684 and I will respond to you.
So if you can go through that process, you can take the same mindset, which some people do have some challenges with that. But if they can take that same mindset and put it into real estate, put it into network marketing, put it in traditional business, it doesn't matter what it is. They don't have to be a SEAL, just like you, Dan. Like, you have that mindset already, and many of your followers already have that mindset. And that's how they're able to get from where they are to where they want to go, is by, the whole recipe, not just the one thing.
What do you think is most similar about what you do now and your prior life?
Most similar? That's a great question. I don't know. I'd have to say that maybe, with my prior life, everything was a competition. Everything was trying to perform at the highest level, at the highest standard. And so I think over here with what we're doing, it's like, we're constantly trying to push the envelope higher, raise the standard to where we can help more people. So I think, it's very similar in the aspect of the work ethic, the vision of being able to just impact lives. I mean, over there, it can be tangible, but sometimes it's not as tangible, but over here it's pretty tangible. You get to see it every day. So that's really nice.
How was it? I know you met Cody Sperber, a clever investor who he was on our show a few months ago. How did meeting him impact your money mindset, your financial well-beings? I know you've gotten involved in some of the stuff he's doing, which is he's doing a lot of great stuff.
Yeah, Cody is, man. I like Cody a lot. He's a prior Navy vet as well, so I really resonated with him. He's a great marketing guy. Like, his marketing mindset is really good. So meeting him, before I'd met him, I already been mentored by a guy from Dubai who's worth almost $1 billion. And so I was very fortunate to have a mentor in my life who, was teaching me just many different aspects of money and success and things like that. But when I met him, he just brought a whole nother side of it, because I didn't really understand the real estate game, man. Like, and I still don't understand it like you do. But what I learned most from Cody was that, I could take, because he's a systems guy as well, but I could take, instead of me having to take my, all my time and take it out of my sandbox, because this is what happens, man. So many people go on social media and they start taking all their time out of their sandbox because they want to do this, then they want to do that, then they want to do that. And they can never really have success in anything because they're dabbling in 4, 5, 6 different things. So I wanted to come over here, and I learned with Cody that I could literally focus on, one thing, my primary sandbox, drive that, and then work with Cody on the side by leveraging his mindset, by leveraging his skills, by leveraging everything that his knowledge brings to the table. And so it's been great having that relationship with him, because it helps me be able to focus on where I need to go, and I can leverage, his expertise.
So I guess it's the concept, initially you got to reinvest in your business. At some point, you're going to have an overflow, like just so much, income. If you do it well, like you have, that there's going to be an overflow. And rather than like take the time and attention away from the golden goose, you take that excess cash and leverage other smart people's time.
That's it, man. I invested with Cody, by the way, like in the beginning into his course, because I knew that you pay for mentorship, you produce for mentorship, or you serve for mentorship. And I said, man, if I could pay for his mentorship and just get close to him, maybe I could build a relationship with him. And, we're not like super close or anything, but we're close enough to where I can text him right now. And if I need something, he'll help me. But the point is I paid for mentorship so that I could be close with him, so that I could have that relationship. And, some of you guys, anybody on this call, you guys can go do the same thing. There's so many different programs. There's so many different meetups. Like, they have the Avengers Mastermind. Like, pay money for that stuff to where you can get out there, network, meet friends, because those are going to be the deals that you're going to do off on the side that are going to be able to, catapult you to a next level that you didn't even know. Most people don't even know that that's happening unless you're actively out there doing it.
Well, if you don't do that kind of stuff, you're not going to meet people that are at your level, or hopefully, a level or two beyond where you currently are.
Right.
Because those are the types of events that attract people with that mindset. And, maybe you go to a real estate event, but you meet someone who is world-class and how to pay less taxes, right? Or
yeah.
You go to a network marketing thing and you meet a real estate guy, right? So you never know who is going to be there, how they're going to impact your life, but you just know that paying money to go to those kinds of things get you in the room with like-minded people that will help take you to the next level.
Yeah. And I shouldn't even say paying money. I should have said investing money, right? Because technically it's an investment into relationships. So like one of my mentors told me, he said, Brian, spend 30% of your time with people that you're mentoring. Spend the next 30% of the people of your time with people that are peer-to-peer, and then spend 30% of your time with, you know, or 30 to 40%, whatever, of the time with people that are where you want to be in your life. And so Cody was just one of those guys. I mean, the guy's killing it. He was somebody that I said, okay, if I can invest some time to get close to him, to spend some time with him. I was in Phoenix, he was in Phoenix. If I could spend some time to get to the Avengers Mastermind where all these people are crushing it, or to, you know, hang out with Cole Hatter, or just all these different people, right? I can go on and on. I've spent money to hang out with Kevin Harrington, who's the original shark on Shark Tank, James Malinchak, Darren Hardy, you know, all these people, so that I could have, you know, proximity, because proximity is power.
Awesome. Well, Brandon, I really appreciate all of the motivation and inspiration, and truly an amazing story. I always like to wrap up with a HyperFast round if you're ready for some rapid fire questions and answers.
Let's do it, man. Yeah.
All right. What's your biggest piece of advice to a new real estate agent or new real estate investor?
Just go all in. Don't toe dip, man. You have to go all in. You're not going to have success if you're not just, if you're toe dipping. You have to immerse yourself into it, learn the language, and move fast.
What's a mistake that you commonly see successful people make?
Successful people, I'd say, depending on what your definition of success is, but I'd say a mistake that I see them make is that sometimes they allow themselves to get outside their sandbox. Stay in your sandbox.
What's the biggest challenge you've ever had in business, and how did you overcome it, or what did you learn from it?
Biggest challenge I'd say is, you know, sometimes your business is going to be growing. Sometimes there's always going to be ups and downs in your business. And so the question is what is your mindset when things are going down? And are you living in your current results, or are you living where you want to be? So there was a time period where my business was stagnant, like I was telling you, and I had to make a decision on whether or not, am I going to, you know, sit here and be a baby and be a victim of my current situation, or am I going to be a victor and, you know, live where I want to go? And so that's when I decided to put my work boots on, get back to work, get back in the trenches, and things started taking off again.
When you're not working on your business, what would we most likely find you doing?
Hanging out with my daughter. I got a 9-month-old daughter, man. Remember, time's the most precious asset that we have. So I spend time with my daughter.
All right, last question. Where do you see yourself 10 years from now?
It's funny you just said that. I literally just sat down with my Swiss bank wealth management guy, and I said, in 10 years, I want to have $50 million in the bank. I said, I don't know how I'm going to do it. I'm not going to let that knock me out of the box, because I'm not focused on the how. I just know what I want. I know what my target is, and I'm going to find out a way to get it.
Well, we might all have to add a 0 to those goals if inflation continues on its path, to have the same spending power, at least, it seems.
Yeah, for sure. It's crazy, man. It's crazy.
Well, I appreciate having you on the show. Before I sign off, if people want to get in touch with you, learn more about what you're doing, or just connect on social media, what are some of the ways they can do that?
Yeah, go to Instagram, and it's the Brandon Thornhill. Somebody else had my name, so the Brandon Thornhill, and that's the primary means. You can go to Facebook, Brandon Thornhill, as well. And then I will have a podcast up and running here soon called The Journey to Win. So it's going to be all about what it takes to win. I'll bring Dan on here, and we'll do the reverse, and, you know, and he'll maybe, if you're open to it.
Oh, I'd love to. That'd be awesome.
He can tell you guys what it takes to actually win from when he first got started to where he is today. And I want to do that with everybody. I already have some big names of people that are confirmed. So I'm excited to get it up and running.
Awesome. I look forward to seeing the podcast, being on it as well. Thank you so much, Brandon. To all of our listeners and viewers out there, thank you so much. And please, 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 if you found value in this episode, which I'm sure you did, because I got a lot out of it, please share it with someone that you know would benefit from listening or watching on YouTube. I'll see you guys later.
Thank you for tuning in to this episode of the HyperFast Show. Subscribe to us if you want to make sure you get the latest and greatest HyperFast shows. And remember, we love reviews. Reviews help us bring better and better guests and improve our shows. So give us the good, the bad, and the ugly. We hope you enjoyed the show, and we will see you next time.
Hey guys, thanks for sticking around to the end. I hope you enjoyed that video, and if you want to see more, click right here. And if you want 100 real estate tips from my best-selling book, click right here to download them instantly. And if you're new to this channel, click below to subscribe and turn on post notifications so you don't miss out. And leave some comments about what you think on the videos.